or sorry, Garcia to the stand. Good afternoon. Please introduce yourself to the court.
Grayson James Garcia.
Mr. Garcia, what's your job currently?
I work for the data forensics company, E. Sherlock. As they say there, they call it, we rip and run. We rip information off cell phones, computers, electronic devices, and run it through advanced software.
You said you work in data forensics, but do you have any other experience in that field?
Sure. When I started out, I was pleased. I worked for the Midland State Police Department, learned under Lester Freeman, a pretty good policeman. But I decided that I needed the job that got me home in time for dinner, so I moved on to E. Sherlock in 2013, and I've been there ever since.
So what was your role throughout today's case?
You hear about that mayoral election in Midland. Apparently there was some buzz around that because my employer, E. Sherlock, was asked to run a data investigation about the election and some of the weeks before.
You mentioned that you were asked to run a data investigation. So were you able to collect sufficient facts and data then?
Sure, phone records. I actually got the phones of over 100 Bellevue 12th District residents. I ripped information from those and also got some information from Max Heisman's campaign computers and his own cell phone.
And aside from that data, did you have sufficient scientific principles, methods, or tests at your disposal that you could then apply to the data you collected?
Sure, it's a standard procedure. We take the information off of a cell phone or a computer, we put it on our own devices, and we run it through the industry standard software. It tells us who's been talking to who, and just as importantly, when. All the pieces matter.
And did you apply these methods and tests to the data in this case specifically?
Yeah, sure did.
So then let's take a step back and discuss how you began your investigation. So when you first began, what was your approach?
Got to work from the ground up every single time. Started with the 118 devices that I got from the Bellevue residents, each one of their phones.
Or what information were you able to find from these phones?
Between 118 random people, would you expect to find anything in common? Probably not, but here I did. Every single one of those 118 phones had gotten calls or text messages from an unknown number. That number was 625-555-1935.
So this 1935 number, were you ever able to identify the identity of any potential user or owner of this phone?
I was. I looked up the number and I found a prepaid disposable cell phone, sometimes called a burner, provided by the cell company NetSource. Can be picked up at any mobile or gas station. So I subpoenaed their record keepers and found a device profile for the device.
So if I were to show you a copy of this device profile here today in court, would you be able to recognize that?
I think so, sure.
Your Honor, approaching opposing counsel with what has been constructed in Rockets Plaintiff 7. Approaching the witness as well. So Mr. Garcia, could you tell the court what I've just handed you?
On the front here, there's a sworn statement from their record keeper, Ms. Woolbear, saying that the information there is true. On the back of it is the full cell record of the 625 burner phone.
So does this appear to be a fair and accurate copy then of that document as you recognize it?
It does.
And just to clarify, you again used this specifically in your investigation?
Yes, it took me where I needed to go.
Your Honor, this time I move to enter Plaintiff 7 into evidence.
Any objection?
Yes, Your Honor. I'll object to hearsay at this time.
Response.
Your Honor, under Rule 803-6, this is an exception to hearsay, as it has been adopted to be true by Olivia Wolbert, who was the custodian of this document.
So are you just saying that it's not hearsay because it's true?
Just a minute, Your Honor, sorry.
No problem, take your time.
Yes, Your Honor, just to clarify, this is an exception to hearsay under Rule 803-6, as this is a record of regularly conducted activity. Olivia Wolbert regularly conducts activities for NetSource This includes being a custodian of all of their data and all their information, and as a result, she adopted this document to be true, so it would be an exception as it is regularly conducted activity.
So you're talking about, you're saying the author of said document is stating that it's true, and is that author regularly conducted business activity to make those documents?
Yes, Your Honor, it is Olivia Wolbert's regularly conducted business activity to adopt, to be the custodian of documents such as this cell profile and to adopt these to be true.
May I respond, Your Honor?
Yes, you may.
Your Honor, at this point in time, we have heard no foundation that that is what Olivia Walbert does. Furthermore, Your Honor, it would have to be his, something that he would do regularly, Your Honor, not Olivia Walbert. We are questioning this witness and not Olivia Walbert. Therefore, for this piece of evidence to come in, this piece of evidence cannot come in through this witness.
Your Honor, may I respond to those grounds?
Yes, you may.
Your Honor, we have heard foundation about Olivia Wolbert's involvement in this. The witness just testified moments ago that Olivia Wolbert did act as the custodian, and that it is Olivia Wolbert's job to be the custodian of documents such as this for the company NetSource. And so we've heard ample foundation that this document should be admitted.
Well, I would tend to disagree. You haven't laid ample foundation that this individual woman, exactly what her job is, how does he know her in relation to her job, how did he work with her as far as making this document, did he review this document with her? You need to lay foundation as to far as how he would have the knowledge to say that is a representative business activity, because right now, her certification only works for authentication, and not necessarily for the exception under the hearsay rule, which you are proffering. So at this point, I will sustain the objection.
Your Honor, I can lay that foundation about Olivia Wolbert. So, Mr. Mark Garcia, are you aware of Olivia Wolbert's job and her activity related to NetSource?
Yes, sir. When we started this case, we were granted subpoena power, so I subpoenaed this record and was put in contact with Ms. Wolbert. She's the chief database administrator for NetSource, and as such, she swore to me that it is her job to create and manage a device profile for every device
Objection,
that
hearsay.
comes through.
Response? She's objecting to hearsay as to what the custodian of this document told him.
Your Honor, this is not hearsay. This is not being. Your Honor, this is not being used for the truth of the matter asserted. This is merely being used to show that Mr. Garcia was given the impression that this is a regularly conducted business activity as a result of his conversations with Ms. Wolbert.
For his impression to be that it's a very conducted business activity, it would therefore have to go for the truth of the matter asserted, because if he didn't believe it was true, then how can he proffer that it's a very conducted business activity? I'll give you some time to consult with your co-counsel on how you'd like to respond to her objection.
Your Honor, under Rule 902.11, this is a certified domestic record of a regularly conducted activity. We do have sufficient reason to believe that this would satisfy our need for the 803.6 exception, as this is certified by the custodian, Olivia Wahlberg.
You're saying 803.6D?
Yes, Your Honor. 803.6D, we know that that is sufficient because in turn of Rule 902.11, which states that a certified domestic record of regularly conducted activity meets the requirements of Rule 803. This is a certification by Olivia Wahlberg, so it would meet that prong.
You have a response?
Your Honor, I didn't object to this document at this time. Your Honor, I objected to the hearsay statements listed, that this witness listed, saying that Olivia said that she was a consultant for this firm, Your Honor. And that is the hearsay statement that is not admissible.
Yeah, and on that ground, that objection is sustained. The exception you just gave me gives you the right to enter the actual records that you want into evidence, so you don't have to lay the foundation any further as to how he would have knowledge of her regularly conducted activities.
Yes, Your Honor.
So you can proceed.
Yes, Your Honor. So, Mr. Garcia, what was so significant about the cell phone profile?
This phone was a prepaid disposable phone bought at a mobile station on February 28th of 2015. It was activated on the same day, and for the next few weeks, up until the day after the election, it was making a lot of calls. 1,656 calls in under 3 weeks.
Objection, Your Honor. Testifying to evidence not, testifying to this document that's not evidence.
Tend to be true. Would you like to admit this document into evidence? You
Oh.
lay the foundation, or you got the...
Oh, yes, Your Honor. Sorry, I wasn't aware this wasn't entered into evidence yet. At this time, I moved to enter this document into evidence.
Any objection?
No, Your Honor.
So admit it.
So, Mr. Garcia, what did you find so significant about this document?
This prepaid phone was bought and activated on the last day of February 2015. For the next under 3 weeks, it made 1,656 phone calls, averaging little more than a minute in length. It also made hundreds of text messages, and I found that it hit the Bellevue phones that I reviewed, in many cases, multiple times, giving inaccurate information about the election.
Thank you, Mr. Garcia. Your Honor, approaching the pen ring. Mr. Garcia, did you analyze any other electronics in this case related to Heisman campaign?
I did. I took a look at a couple more phones related to the Heisman campaign, namely Max Heisman's phone.
So were you able to find anything significant about Max Heisman's phone?
I was. While none of the other Bellevue resident phones had the 625 prepaid phone as a cell phone contact, only Ms. Heisman's phone did contain that number. It was listed as a contact in your records.
If I were to show you a screenshot of that contact page, would you be able to recognize the bank card?
Yes.
Approaching opposing counsel, Your Honor. Can you tell the court what I just handed you, Mr. Garcia?
This is a screenshot that I took from Ms. Heisman's phone listing a few of her contacts.
Does it appear to be a fair and accurate copy of that screenshot?
Yes, it does.
And did you use the screenshot in your investigation?
Yes, sir.
Your Honor, this time I move plaintiff's 8 into evidence.
Any objection?
No, Your Honor.
So admit it.
So what did you find so significant about this screenshot in particular?
Among the listed contacts here is 625-555-1935, the same number as this 625 prepaid phone. I found that this contact had been entered the same day that this phone had been activated.
Thank you, Mr. Garcia. Turning to the bench, Your Honor.
Thank you.
You analyzed the cell phones of any other officials in the Heisman office.
One more, that of Tom Lyon, Ms. Heisman's campaign manager.
So what did you find out about Tom Lyon's phone?
Tom Lyon's phone turned out to be an item of interest. I couldn't find much on it, but I did find that it had been manipulated.
What do you mean when you say manipulated?
That means that the information there has been altered by a sophisticated user. In my experience, this is usually no accident. It's not like your kids going and deleting evidence of text messages between them and their friends. This usually requires advanced computer software.
Thank you, Mr. Garcia. No further questions, Your Honor.